All right, Chambers County Commissioner Court comes to order this Tuesday, 8th day of December, 2020, 9:30 a.m. And it's a virtual meeting. I'm at the courthouse and everyone else at their office. So with that, if you'll all rise. Gracious Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day. Thank you for this time we can come together to do the business of Chambers County. Pray that you would guide us and direct us in every decision we make and keep us safe through the holidays. Amen. Join us in the pledges. Pledge allegiance
To the flag
Flag
of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible. Thank you. You see, I don't want to call Aaron out, but he messed up on the first one. Get it, Judge?
What are you doing in your office?
Well, see the office of the courtroom, so I decided to stand here today.
We can't see the flags.
1.1 discuss. Yeah, Aaron was holding the flags out there.
Okay.
I had one held up too, Judge.
1.1 discuss and consider department updates. Mary Beth Best, Health Department Director. Mary Beth, good morning.
Good morning. Hope you are doing well this Tuesday morning. So I'm going to give an update on a public health update on COVID situation here in Chambers County right now. And we currently have a total case count of 2,244 COVID cases in Chambers County with an active case count of 255. And I know y'all been kind of following it along. I'm hoping you are. We have an average case count over the past week daily of 24.1 cases. So what I've been trying to do also is just try to track the number of cases to try to level the playing field. So per 100,000 population. So what this does is kind of larger counties, smaller counties. This is kind of how they're tracked nationally and throughout the state of Texas. So what it does is kind of levels the playing field. So we track it per 100,000 population. In Chambers County, if you look at that map, or if you looked on it when I posted it last night on Facebook, we are just kind of standing out like a sore thumb. So we're currently, over the past 7 days, per 100,000 population, we're currently at 66.2 cases. And the next closest county around us is Jefferson County. They're at 44. And Fort Bend County, 38. Galveston, 35. Brazoria, 31. Harris, 25. And Liberty at 12. So, you know, there's, and that again, kind of levels a playing field. So those, you know, preventive measures such as masking, social distancing, avoiding group settings, those things are really the only thing we have right now to help slow the spread. And those are still the things that we're going to recommend that we need to be doing. We are in the top 28% of counties that have those higher case counts, which just means we're at that red level, and which is just an indicator that we have widespread community transmission. So when you meet someone face to face, there's just a good chance that they could be pre-symptomatic or asymptomatic, and you're less than 6 feet and they don't have a mask on, you don't have a mask on, or even if you are masked and they're in that 48-hour window, or if you're in a group setting, there's just a good chance that you could be, could get a disease. And like we've said time and time again, even though there is a high rate of recovery from this, no one knows if you're going to be in that percentage of someone that has a harder time with disease or recovery or even death. We also had, let me look back at my list. We currently have a 21.7 positivity rate in the county, which again is no surprise, just going off of our numbers. I think Harris County, the region, and pretty much statewide, they're pretty much level at about 10% right now. So we're still just, again, we really have to just be proactive and slowing down what we're doing here locally. We did have a drive-through last weekend. I want to give a big thank you to everyone who participated in that. It's a group effort. It always is. We know how to pull together in times of need. And so it was a huge success to be able to offer that service to people who either may not be able to afford testing, who don't have access to testing, or who just, we can do surveillance testing, which lets us know if there's areas in the county that may have higher groups of positives. So we were able to offer testing at Houston Raceway Park, 97 were tested, Whites Park 53, and in Winnie Stoll area 42, which is a total of 192 were tested throughout both days, which was phenomenal. And it was a great group effort. And I just want to give a big thank you to everyone who planned, organized, showed up, and filled in the gaps for us. We know that those test results are already starting to come in. We've gotten a few phone calls today. And so we will, again, work hard together to follow up on all those.
Hey, Mary Beth,
Yes, sir.
what are you noticing on trend as far as where the spread's coming from, or how it's being spread?
So we still are noticing that trending.
Mary Beth, what's the question? Again, I couldn't hear Jimmy.
He asked a question of any trends as far as how disease is being spread. So
Okay.
So what we're noticing, and I'll kind of get some backup with all the team is in here with me right now. So what we're noticing still is that there's still transmission in families, family transmission. So someone a lot of times brings it into the family because a lot of times in your household, you're not masked in your household. A lot of times the transmission is occurring in those group settings, in those gatherings, in close proximity, and vehicles. We have had recently some we have had some school, way more school transmission than we had before. But of course, definitely it's outside of the schools, inside of the schools. Anything that sticks out to y'all, transmission trends? Sorry, put y'all on the spot.
Thanksgiving.
Oh yeah, gosh, we're starting to get those Thanksgiving cases. And that was a big, just like after Halloween, we saw those two weeks after Halloween, those 10 days, 5 to 10 days after Halloween, where you could see when people really kind of did more of those group settings. We're just now starting to see Thanksgiving again too. And it's just those, we understand that people want to get together and gather. We have families here too. All of us have families and children, and we're not immune to it either. But that's what we're seeing too, is people want to gather. And again, a lot of people don't know that they're positive, and so they're able to spread that disease.
Hey, Mary Beth, is there a way, or does anyone track how many, what percentage of our population takes tests per 100,000 versus the other county? Could be possible we're testing more?
So no, one of the graphs that I posted also yesterday, it does show that if you are, what the trend is, if the increase in positive tests is solely related to just increased testing. And so it shows if those lines are closer together or farther apart. And that's one of the reasons why the testing positivity rate is also important as well. If your rate is higher just because you're testing more, your rate's lower just because you're testing more. And our positivity rate is not attributed to just because we're testing more. And that graph, and I can also email you those metrics also too. Okay. And the numbers that I gave today also don't include the test that we did through the drive-through. We're going to post all those numbers separately as well.
Wow, I didn't want to hear that, Mary Beth.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, and that's one of the things that the testing, that positivity rate is the testing, it's called a testing positivity rate, to see if you can attribute your number of positive cases just because you're testing more. So, also another question I think that Commissioner Gord asked me last week specifically was about the COVID vaccine. Just so y'all know, we do have a pretty robust COVID vaccine plan that we're always updating. We're on weekly conference calls with the state. We also meet weekly, like tomorrow we'll meet with our local healthcare providers, first responders, and pharmacies on that. We have several registered vaccine providers in the county, which will help us tremendously when that happens. We know that hospitals will get the first doses, and then after that, that'll kind of, anyway, we're on top of that. If you have any questions, please give us a call about that. We know that it's going to be a pretty heavy task, but we're always up to the challenge, and we will need all of our healthcare providers, EMS, to help us in that challenge if they're not going to register to be a provider. And we have a lot of people on board with that. We will be posting a vaccine FAQ on our website shortly because we know people have a lot of questions about that. So we're still working on that. Lastly, I think this is the last thing, is that CDC did give some new optional quarantine. You know, I'm not even going to say it's guidance or recommendations. We will be coming out with a statement either later on today or tomorrow. We've been working hard on that. DSHS has been working hard on that as well. Right now, Chambers County Public Health has not changed anything with our guidance right now. And CDC recommendations still state that they recommend the full 14 days for quarantine. They did an optional alternative to the 14 days, but their recommendation still is 14 days. We will be coming out with something later on today or tomorrow. And I'm open to any questions. I know that was a lot of information.
There's something here, Mary Beth, on the agenda of this court on outside gatherings. Do you have an opinion on that, or is it still the same as it was before?
So it's still, the governor has guidance on that he gives the authority to the local judges and mayors, you know, in, I guess, accordance also with the local health authority on that. So, I think for any kind of outside gathering more than 10 people. And, of course, our opinion is—
More than how many?
10 people, any kind of outside gathering of more than 10 people. And then there's indoor guidance for every kind of facility also. And that's all set by the governor. So we know that the more people gather and they're in close proximity, the more that we have positive cases. That's just what we find. So the opinion is that we just have to just really be smart about it and assess your risk and assess every risk with that.
And if you're talking about 10.1, Gary, it's going to be pulled anyway. So.
Okay. Well, either that, we need to bring in some more people where our percentages will go down.
Also, last thing, and I did write this down. Also, you've probably seen on the news, Houston News has kind of made
I did.
Houston News has kind of made a big deal about this lately too, about the trauma service regions, about the hospitalization rates. This will affect us directly if our hospitalization rate goes above 15%. And we're not in the trauma service region. We're not in Houston's region. We're actually in trauma TSA-R, RAC-R. And the hospitalization rate over the past 7 days is currently averaging 13.3%. And the week before that, it was about 14.8%. Which means that we will get a nice little letter from the governor that states that we have to go back down to 50% for restaurants, and the bars will also go back down. So Houston, that's RAC Q. Theirs is currently at 9.4, and I want to say the week before that they were like between 6 and 7. So anyway, so that's another reason why, and that's not solely based on COVID hospitalizations. That's based on total hospitalizations. We have to have room for everyone to fit in the hospital. Heart attacks, strokes, car accidents. So, and we know that a lot of times gatherings in restaurants or bars, again, is another way for COVID to spread. So we're hoping for relief from vaccine.
Who are we in the rack with?
So we're in RAC-R. It's called Galveston. So it's Galveston, Jefferson. It's that southern. It's, if you look at the map, and I can also send that to you. So even though most of our hospitalizations, or a good bit of our hospitalizations, occur in Houston, it's just the RAC that we're in. It's in that southern. So that will affect us directly.
All right. Any other questions?
Thank you, Mary Beth.
Last thing, there are a lot of people who are doing an amazing job. I don't want to harp on the people who aren't. There are a lot of people who are doing an amazing job, and I want to thank those who are spreading the message and who are doing their part. It's just the nature of the beast right now.
So you're not going to give a health department update, just the COVID update today?
Just a COVID update. No, sir. I don't know that I got the memo on that.
All right, so I'll go ahead and give you the memo now. Next time, why don't you plan on doing a COVID update and just a health department update like we do in the departments? Next court, I'll just put you on again for them.
Okay.
And Mary Beth, before you leave, one more thing. I had somebody come in the other day that addressed the grocery store, that there's more and more that are not wearing masks in the grocery store. And he came in asking me the question about it. You know, I told him, I said, you know, there's reasons you don't have to wear a mask at heart, you know, whether more people are using that reason that they've had surgery or they've had asthma or they have some kind of breathing problem. So are we still on the same stance that we need to try to enforce or try to encourage people to mask up?
Yes, there's still a mask order by the governor that's in place. So, I mean, I don't think that you could really, you know, ask someone.
It's hard for the grocery store to enforce it. You know what I mean? They're sitting there, they're trying to sell food,
Mhm.
and half their customers out, then they're, you know, I don't, you know, I mean, it's kind of difficult. You look like their hands will be tied as well.
Yeah, Gary, we're getting those complaints, and when we do, we forward them on to, if it's HEB, to HEB, Buck's Pizza, whoever it is. And I
They
think
got a big sign up there. I mean, you can't miss the sign, but it's still not in. And
Yeah.
Unfortunately, people are going to do what they're going to do.
We're an independent society. I mean, we you know, people don't like to be told what to do.
Hey,
Yep.
hey, Mary Beth.
Yes,
Shouldn't
sir.
get married.
I mean, just by watching and listening, I mean, it doesn't seem like, I don't know if this will ever go away. I mean, maybe I have to just get used to living with it and taking this vaccine every 6 months or every year. I mean, it just doesn't seem like it's going to ever go away. I mean, is that what you seeing in a trend or what?
So I think that there's a lot of hope with the vaccine. I don't think that they've released information yet on how long we'll get protection from the vaccine. I think you may have to take a booster, but I don't think that information's out yet. I'm very hopeful that the vaccine is really going to reduce the disease burden from COVID, and that we will get, it may be a year and it may be a year and a half, it may be 2022, you know, but I really feel like there is, you know, relief on the horizon, and we will get some semblance of normalcy in, you know, the next year and a half or so. I'm very
because this has happened before in American's history. And so we've overcome it and moved on. So, and technology is better now. You know, our healthcare folks are better now. I'm
I
hoping.
appreciate it.
Yeah.
All right. No other questions? Thank you, Mary Beth.
Thank you.
Take care. Pass it on to everyone over there. They're doing a good job. All right. Let's move on to, is Chad and Noah both on?
I see Chad.
Okay.
I don't know if Noah may with him or.
Yeah, we'll give it a minute. I told him 10 o'clock. So, all right, 1.3, discuss, excuse me, consider resolution requesting support from the Texas State Legislature to include Chambers County list of counties affected by Texas House Bill 1548 from 2019, allowing citizens in the unincorporated areas of Chambers County the ability to drive their neighborhood electric vehicles, golf carts, and off-highway vehicles with stipulations. So I got a text from Representative Middleton last week. He said this resolution was passed in Galveston County. I'd like to support from Chambers County. What it basically does is allows Commissioners Court the authority to regulate those golf carts on county roads, golf courts.
But it's golf carts, right?
Well,
Electric golf carts.
well,
Yeah.
Did you
I don't
just
think it
read the
narrows it
email?
down just electric.
Did y'all read the
Say it
email we
again.
just got from the sheriff? It just came a few minutes
Yeah,
ago.
I'm just now reading this. Billy, Jimmy, Judge?
Yeah, one of y'all read it. Go ahead.
Yeah, well, actually, I'll just summarize the letter he wrote. The sheriff is in support of the bill, but the bill also allows golf carts and off-highway vehicles. Although the sheriff is in support of the bill, he is not in support of the county allowing off-road vehicles, the ones that can go much faster than the golf carts. And I think what's before us right now, the resolution would just ask the legislator to consider adding Chambers County to that bill, which would allow the county to allow the golf carts and the off-road vehicles, but it would be the county's choice to do that.
Right. It'll give local control for this issue versus
Right.
the state making those decisions.
And Judge, I'll make a motion that we approve the resolution.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Combs, second by Commissioner Gore. Any other questions or comments? Hearing none, those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. 4, discuss and consider the transfer of voter registration from the tax assessor collector to the county clerk's office. You have letters in your packet from Ms. Hawthorne and Ms. Hutter. I think this is a wise move.
I'll make a motion to approve the transfer, Judge.
I second, Your Honor.
Motion by Commissioner Nelson, second by Commissioner Tice. Any questions? Those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. 1.5, discuss and consider revised resolution putting John Jenkins as the Chambers County representative to the Trinity River Authority Board of Directors and for his dedication to the mission of protecting and enhancing the water resources of Trinity River. There was one word changed, and it's in the now for be it resolved, Chambers County Commissioners Court does hereby. Previously, we said recognize, change that to recommend Mr. Jenkins for reappointment to the Trinity River Board of Directors.
You need a motion here, Your Honor?
Motion by Commissioner Tice,
I'll second.
Yes, sir.
second by Commissioner Nelson. In favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Is Corey on?
No, sir.
All right, we're going to pull 10.1. Let's go to under Parks and Recreation, 6.1. Discuss and consider hiring Gulf Coast Electric for vandalism repairs at McLeod Park for $57,100.
Judge, there was something there that, I know we got an insurance check for this repair. So they're not certain. I mean, we got an estimate, but they're not certain once they get in there that it's not going to go up some more. So,
Yeah, the
we got to decide. What's that?
$50,800 that we got from insurance. We'll pay for
Yeah,
this,
but I think what we need to do is work towards getting the lights on something, and as we progress, because it may run into more money when they get in it and start fixing. There may be a stop point that we want to do. So
if you get Corey.
I will, I don't mind making this motion with the deal that up to $57,100 that we'll proceed. We want to do it in progressive stages. In other words, get some lights working, and if you run out of money, then we'll have to bring it back to proceed with further.
You want to make a motion to approve it up to $57,100?
That's what the
Insurance.
that's what the thing said. No, it's 50,000.
That's what the estimate is. And the insurance,
Oh, okay. My bad. Yes, I see
Yeah,
that.
this is what the item states 57,100.
okay, so you make a motion
I'm gonna approve it to that level.
$57,100.
I'll make that motion.
I can second that, Your Honor.
Motion by Commissioner Nelson, second by Commissioner Tice. Questions?
And
Yeah.
if it comes into a bunch more money, then we have to bring it back to discuss it.
Yeah, you're proving just $57,100.
If it runs up more money, I mean, can we go back to our insurance, or, I mean, that's all they're gonna do, or?
I think that's all.
It won't hurt to ask.
I mean, I didn't know how they come up with that figures. I was curious if the contractor just.
Well, I read the bid, and the bid
Yeah.
says
You're right.
that there's could be some unknowns when they get in there and get started. That's why I said if they'll do it in a progressive state, to get something going, get one fixed and then work on the next one. and then they might work on the next one. But once they get to a point, at least we do have something that operates.
Yeah.
That
no,
works and
I-
is updated.
Yeah, I know. I understand that. I'm just thinking how they come up with that deal and if our insurance was going.
It's an estimate. There's so much, that's one of those things you can't see it. There's so much of it you really won't know until you start pulling stuff out and see what you've got.
Yes, sir.
It's the unknowns until you get in there, Commissioner Nelson, correct?
That's right.
But what I'm saying is at the end, if we have a total and we know what it is, if the insurance would adjust it.
I guess you could ask them.
Yeah, it doesn't hurt to ask.
That's right, Judge.
I got a motion and a second. Are there any other questions? Hear none, those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Corey Taylor's on the phone. So we'll go to Road and Bridge 3.1, discuss and consider rejecting all bids for the Oak Street Bridge project. Corey,
Yes,
morning.
good morning.
Okay, you want to explain to the court this item?
Yes, so the bids came back. Y'all can see those bid packages. They're just higher than the even what we had anticipated. We knew obviously that bridge, having to order it and bring it in. There's just a lot of little parts that ran the cost up. Talking to the bidders, they said basically it is what it is. Even some that didn't bid on it just alluded to the fact that the situation as it was, small quantities, kind of hurt being able to bring the values down. Everyone I talked to recommended us evaluating and either a cast in place box or a precast box structure. And so we are evaluating that now, but everybody essentially, I think the values is we could, as they are, is we could basically drop the cost in half by doing that. So my recommendation would be to scrap the bids that we received and try to proceed in a different option.
Judge, I'll make a motion. We all bid for the Oak Street Bridge project.
Bid right now, just
Second.
scrap what the bids that were received.
All right, I got a motion by Commissioner Nelson, second by Commissioner Gore.
Judge,
Sir.
I appreciate the job that Corey and everybody done on bidding that, but I mean, when I was there at the bid opening, and I agree with Corey and them that we can do it for, I feel that we can do it for the money that's budgeted and go into other route with the box culverts or whatever. So, but anyway, I appreciate the effort of everybody doing it though.
I know there's some folks that live along there that's really like the fact that it's been out because it's less traffic. What the balance is, those that want the bridge put back in and those that like to leave it like it is. How far around do they have to come if they live along that getting to the bridge? Mark, have you heard from anybody?
Say that again, Judge. I'm having volume issues. Hang on.
Have you heard from anybody on that street about whether they want the bridge or not? Or?
Yeah, I mean, Judge, I heard their voices loud and clear many months ago. There was quite a few people, but as of lately, I have not heard anything, Your Honor. But yes, I've got phone calls about it. People do want it.
Okay. What about you, Commissioner Gore? You talking to?
I've fielded questions on both sides, Judge, about the keep leaving it out as well as putting it back in.
Yeah, Commissioner Gore, it's the same thing. But when the mayor was calling a couple city councilmen, I certainly was going to listen to them because they know better than I, and they were wanting it. And then I heard a little on the other side, but mostly it was they wanted it.
Okay. All right. I got a motion and a second. Those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Corey?
Yes, sir.
Are you listening in? I'm fixing to put text out on. Are you listening in? You want to stay on the phone or are you going to listen in on the computer?
Either way is fine with me. I've got the computer up.
Are you,
I'm just, stay on the phone just in case something pops up that you, I guess, want to.
okay, we'll just leave you on the phone then.
Okay, thank you.
All right, let's go to 1.2. You let them in. 1.2, discuss and consider update from the text dot upcoming projects, current projects. Also would like to this time to meet the new district engineer. And also no slack with the new district engineer, Chad Bone, and no slack with area engineer. Both should be on. There's Noel. Good morning.
Morning, Judge. Are you able to hear me okay?
I can hear you and I see Chad now.
Yep, Chad. See that Chad chimed in. He just texted me and was asking about when we're up. And appreciate you guys. Appreciate you guys' time. Let us have a little bit of time on you guys' busy agenda. What I can do real quick, so I can go ahead and give you guys the briefing on different projects we got ongoing right now, and talk just a little bit about, there's a future I know I'm kind of interested in, give you an update on where we're at with that. So I end up using different meeting software. So let me see if I can get, if you don't mind me taking control of your guys' screen, I can start showing you some stuff. So let me see if I can get that.
1 second, please.
My IT guys, Austin said 1 second, please.
Okay.
I said you're good to go.
Okay. Just real quick, before I get started, I just want to say something about, I know everybody's aware of this, but, November 7th, we had a anniversary that none of us really, especially in the transportation industry, didn't want to celebrate. It was 20 years of at least one death on Texas roadways every day. That's 20 years of at least one person passing on our roads. Typically we average about 10 per day in the entire state. That's roughly 3,800 people a year, I believe. And even in Beaumont District, this year we've had 132 folks, or not 130 plus folks passing our roads. Us at TxDOT, I know, the folks in law enforcement are doing quite a bit to try and do our part, with the engineering, obviously with the enforcement. But at the same time too, we just, every time we want to try and take the opportunity and talk to folks, the traveling public itself, because they play a pretty important part, whether it's them not driving distracted or impaired, whether they're not driving with road rage, aggressive driving, excessive speeding. That's a message that we try to send out to the public every time we get that opportunity. So I appreciate the time and you guys' meeting just to kind of hit on that point. So let me go ahead and move on to my next deal. I'm going to have to share again. Okay, is everybody able to see my Google Earth screen?
Yeah.
Okay, appreciate that. Real quick, I'm just going to kind of move around. Hopefully you guys will be able to recognize what I have up on the aerials, but obviously one big project that y'all know we're working on right now is FM 3180 interchange. We are looking at hopefully winter 2021 completion on this project overall. The big thing that everybody was concerned about was getting the I-10 bridge complete, and it is fully complete now. We do have it open to 6 lanes of traffic. There is still some ramp work that needs to be done. And also the reconstruction FM 3180 under the bridge. So with the construction of FM 3180 under the bridge, we're kind of looking for spring completion there. And then also on top of what's going on here in the interchange, we're also widening 3180 through here all the way down to 2354 and then on down to Fisher Road. And for the segment of 3180 from here to here, we are we have the southbound pavement complete, and we are starting to work on the northbound base work and culvert work. Right now for that project, we're about 60 to 70% complete. As we move down to FM 2354, as a lot of you know, we are continuing with our widening. I guess as this road becomes 2354 down to Beach City and Fisher Road. There's also bridge work some bridge widening work that we're doing at NRG Bridge. Right now, the bridge is getting bridge caps and girders set. Hopefully we'll be able to complete that here in a little bit and start on the depth work. We right now for that piece of 2354, we're looking at about 50% complete there. So once again, hopefully we're hoping for summer 2021 completion for that project. One of the projects that we are just starting to kick off right now is the realignment at FM 565. This is the project where we're basically building this realignment piece and basically building a 2-lane with shoulders through here and doing a little bit of work kind of in preparation for our future FM 565 with the grade separation. That I'll talk about that in a little bit, but we are completing some utility clearance work, and we're hoping to start work down here at FM 1405 hopefully within the month. So but that's going to be kicking off really fast here. As I kind of move across the county, I know something that's affected the judge quite a bit. You know, we have an emergency project to take care of some slope stabilization issues that we had down here on Turtle Bay on FM 563. We did get the road open back up right before Thanksgiving. The judge told me that he was going to send me a bill for some of the extra driving he had to do, but I haven't received that yet. So I'm assuming I'm either receiving it or maybe the judge.
It's in the mail. It's in the mail.
I'll leave it at that, sir. We are actually almost just done with it. Like I said, we do have the road opened up again. You know, it's kind of nice to get folks off the detour that we had going there. We are still completing some riprap and other slope work, but we are hoping to get that done before Christmas. As I move on, hopefully I'm not making anybody sick by moving my map around like this, but another project that we have been working on, FM, okay, here we go. State Highway 73 and State Highway 124. You know, we closed down a county line road that had some very huge accident issues there. So we got that, you know, we've had that closed actually for quite a while. We are working on building the grade up and building the MSC walls for the interchange that we're going to be installing here. We had this intersection open for a while. It was kind of our intent to try and open it up to facilitate business here, but it just ended up having some very serious issues. And so we end up closing back down, and we're going to leave that closed until we can get that intersection operational. So right now, traffic that wants to turn going eastbound to northbound basically have to kind of go back to our detour that we had set up. I believe it's on Kiker Road. Yeah, here it is. We have a turnaround on Kiker Road, and this seemed to, you know, we took a few complaints, but folks seemed, you know, we didn't have the accident issues that we're having when we had this intersection open. So this detour will be in operation until we can get the intersection fully open again. With that, we are hoping, I believe we're kind of hoping for a completion, hopefully end of next year. And we're looking right now at about 50% completion on that project. Projects that we have going on I-10, I know everybody's pretty familiar about. You know, we have our project here on Winnie. It's actually broken into two sections. But our I-10, the Chambers County section with the FM 1663 bridge, we're trying to complete some bridge and deck work there. Also working on I guess you'd call it the North MSE wall on the westbound or on the west side of the bridge. And then obviously, as many of you have been involved with, we've been in an ongoing discussion with East Chambers County to build some modular wall there to kind of help improve the aesthetic there. We are continuing to develop those plans. I have some actual renderings and video that I was going to work with Scott Campbell from East Chambers ISD, try to show him to help him better visualize what's going on. So I'm actually in the process of hopefully next week I'll have some video drive through that I can show him that hopefully will do a better job of helping him visualize what's going on there. And as soon as I can get that done, like I said, I'm looking at trying to get that to him either next week or the week after. I know that's probably problematic with the holiday coming up, but trying to get that stuff developed for him so he, so that him and other folks kind of better understand what our vision is for trying to do some of the aesthetic work. Overall, though, the I-10 project is actually about 80% complete. You know, we still have to get the outside lane and shoulder opened up and complete that bridge work, but we are hoping, depending on how much work the modular wall work adds, we're hoping to have a summer to late summer 21 completion for that project. The adjoining project actually is over in Jefferson County. It kind of looks a little bit like one project, but I don't mind hitting on it. The I-10 Jefferson project basically goes from Hampshire Road to FM 365 in Jefferson County. We have some ongoing bridge work at Taylor Bayou and South Fork Bayou. Also the embankment and base work kind of works its way south toward Hampshire Road. That project started a little bit later, but we were hoping for a summer of 2023 completion. And right now we're standing at about 50%. We also have a project I know we've been working on pretty closely with Commissioner Combs, that the State Highway 146 project. We were able to complete a little bit of the curb and kind of the stick divider. I guess that's my best way of describing it. I apologize. We were able to install some of that around up north of what is it?
There's a hostage situation at the RV park.
Kind of in this section here, near the shopping center, near the Walmart, and kind of into this first neighborhood. I believe it's along
Country Meadows.
So we completed a little bit of that work, and we actually have the contractor online, and we are trying to negotiate not negotiate, but we're trying to get a schedule all set, and we are hoping to commence that project here almost immediately. So that work is going to be just around the corner, where we can complete the rest of the striping work for the corridor from basically I-10 all the way down to FM 1405. On top of that, we also have some sidewalk, and we actually have a pedestrian bridge. I believe it's over here by the Jack in the Box. I think it gets you across this this creek here, we are hoping, like I said, to commence that work right away. That duration of that project is going to be approximately a year. So I know one other thing of concern, we just got done doing on I-10, we just got done doing temporary openings along 18 locations, basically from Old and Lost River to Winnie, Texas. We have approximately we have 18 openings that we've established in this segment of I-10, especially kind of here near Winnie. Those are 300-foot sections of basically temporary barrier that we can remove a little bit more readily than trying to get through our permanent barrier as it was prior. So on top of that too, we do have what we call a high flow barrier project that we're developing right now and actually getting ready to let in January. That's going to be installed at various locations in Chambers and in Orange County. And we're hoping to commence that work, actually start construction on that work in spring of 2021. And then I guess probably the biggest project that we got on the books that we're working on developing right now, I know a lot of folks have been involved with this, is kind of back to our FM 565. Right here, the FM 565, we're coming back in 2024 approximately to go ahead and actually widen this out to 4-lane with dedicated left turn lanes. That project has been and is in development right now. We are looking to have either a March to April virtual public meeting. So we're going to be getting out more information on that. And we highly encourage you guys to and whatever stakeholders that to participate in that and let us know what you think once you get a chance to see kind of how our plan is developed. On top of that too, obviously because of all the development of Mariport, KTN, Cabestro, we are doing some additional specific outreach through our TP&D section over at the district, and we're getting ready to try and do some, I guess, specialized outreach to those folks. So hopefully that we can kind of give you some more information about that a little later on once we kind of finalize our plan for that. So with all that, allow me to also introduce my new boss. Hopefully he's here. Let me release control of the screen and hopefully get back to. Hopefully I don't close anything.
Hey, no, before you leave,
Yes, sir.
what about that crossing for the railroad track? I didn't recall you mentioning anything about that.
Are you talking about the grade
There
separation?
where we're looking at 1405 and the railroad track in 565.
Yeah, that was the last project I talked about. When I say grade separation, that's
Okay.
the railroad bridge.
So what is your anticipated timeline on that?
We're looking at fall of 2024, approximately right now. That's kind of that's not, that is a target date so far. That date could move depending on how our project gets developed, especially with the public interest that's going on there, especially, and us trying to work with all the local stakeholders. I know, as everybody knows, there's quite a bit of interest there, and we want to make sure we get it right. So, but we are, our TP&D folks are working hard to try and get some of that targeted outreach set to go here in a little bit. Hopefully we can get some information out to y'all in a little bit so that we can get that accomplished. So.
The thing about the 4 lanes, it'll give you more room to stack up more cars when they're waiting on the train to cross.
That's right.
Good point.
We are hoping to take care of that with the bridge, so we won't have to worry about it. Like I said, we're hopefully at our virtual public meeting, we'll be able to show you some of the new alignment development that we've done and get your input on it. I know we've shown a little bit to Corey and stuff, and had quite a bit of discussion about, especially what's going on with the traffic that's going to get generated by all that warehouse development, with Ameriport, KTN, and, and I trust me, I've drove down there, and I'm going to be spending a lot of time down there this year because of the realignment project. And I am well aware that that is a highly congested piece of road there. So I'm sure hopefully you're going to see me down there quite a bit, and I'm going to try my best to work and get us through at least the realignment project as best I can. So, any other questions, sirs?
I'd like to say thank you for getting the railroad track hump patched again on the on the westbound side. It's a little bit better. Thank you.
Well, and I'm hoping with the project we got starting up, we're going to be doing some work on that right away. Hopefully, just get that thing smoothed out a little better. So it is an ongoing issue, and hopefully with the project we got starting up here almost immediately, we can get some more work done and make it a little bit more permanent and kind of get us to 2024. So
yeah, it looks like it. I know you said that time can move. I hope it's not backward.
No, we got them on the hook, and we are reeling them in. So, and they're actually the project's being done by Angel Brothers, and they're anxious to go. So we're just trying to work out a few final details with them, get a schedule. We have the schedule roughly set, but we're just trying to get the fine detail, and it's our intent to get moving here ASAP. So. And
great. That grade separation also.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about, not moving back.
I figured you were, Billy.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I apologize. And yes, you're exactly right. The grade separation, we realize the importance of that, and we're trying very hard to stay on schedule on that one. So I apologize. I kind of missed that there. So
Thank you so much, Noel, for the updates.
I see my boss is really anxious, so I might, maybe not. So he's like, oh, go ahead, Noel. Anyways, give me a chance to introduce Chad Boney. He's just recently named our district engineer here in Beaumont. He is has a 27 years, sir. 27.
Yeah, I feel all of them. So yes, it's been at least. So I appreciate that, Noel, and that was a really good summary. Tells me how much. And I just enjoyed watching the judge and all of you intently listening, and sometimes nodding, and sometimes maybe shaking your head a little bit about how long it takes us to get things done. But I've already had some introductions with the judge on some other fronts, and tried to reach out to him recently. But yeah, my name's Chad Boney, and come to you from another part of the state, and don't let that keep you from holding me accountable to your needs here. I've been doing this type of thing for about 3 decades in all, probably about as long as back when the judge's coffee cup was the actual real colors of the Astros at that. So he hadn't gotten a new cup. There you go, vintage. And so, but I do come to you, originally was down from Matagorda County, just southwest of Houston. So I'm not a stranger to the area, not a stranger to the department, or not a stranger to the state in any way. So I am glad to be here. I really enjoy y'all's interaction, just watching on the few meetings I've been a part of. You guys seem to be dialed in, and that is awesome. That is not a bad thing on my part. It's great to see folks who know what they want, know when they wanted it, and let you know what the expectation is, because then we can try and deliver. I don't mind that whatsoever. I've shared my cell phone number with the judge, and I want to make sure you guys know, because if Noel is not ever able to make things happen for you, or if you just want to jump to me anyway, because Noel just makes it all sound too rosy, and you want to hear somebody who's grumpy, you can call me. But let me make sure you got my number. But it is my work number, so you can call me anytime. Is 979 571-0434. So I just make sure you know you've got that. So as I've expressed to the judge, we're going to be a team, and we are going to do some really good things. We are going to get after it. Noel knows that Noel now knows what my wife knows is I'm not a real patient person when it comes to trying to get stuff done and having expectations. And I would imagine you guys are the same way, because it looks like things in your area are just growing and busting at the seams. So I'm used to that kind of growth. Come to you from the Texas A&M Bryan College Station area, where we were one of the fastest growing counties, and that was a luxury. It sure made things really good on our economy, made things really good on our part to stay busy, but it's a challenge. And we're going to address it as best we can. But I want you guys to be able to reach out to me anytime. So although I may be new to the area, not new to what the department tries to get done, not new to ways to do it, and I probably know somebody in every type of position and spot in the department that supports us. And I'm not shy or afraid to go asking when you guys have something you need and we either don't know how or we don't have the means to do it, that we can go find it. So, and I know you've been dealing with a lot of emergency situations lately, and I applaud you for that. Sounds like you've had your plate full this year dealing with those unexpected surprises. So I know we got to support you and team with you and be hand in hand with you, and I'm ready to do that. But I'm really excited about it and look forward to meeting you in person, and would be more than happy to try and come see you. I do want to pay a visit to the judge, and any of you other folks, commissioner-wise, that just want to show me something, talk about something, we'd be happy to do so, meet you at site, or just get together on calls like this. But it's all about being a team and communicating well so that we know what you need and we can make it happen. So any questions for me? Any thoughts? I'll tell you, you're probably wondering, well, how can a guy who can't even control of his own thermostat help me out and be able to get things done? So I have been so intent on trying and address the items of the last month in the Beaumont district. I can't even get up from my desk long enough to find the thermostat. So they're freezing me out here, and I'm just bucking up and saying, oh, well, I got work to do. I don't have time to go find where that is. But
Are you an Aggie?
I promise you. Just that, sir?
I said, are you an Aggie?
Unfortunately, yes.
Okay.
Fortunately on some fronts, but yes, I sure am, and proud of that. But hey, as a younger fella, I had many of a vintage Astros items, so I'm right there with you. Like that mug, pretty cool.
Thank you.
Anything I can do for you guys, Mark, Billy, Gary? Anything I can ask? Any answer?
Just Noel just laid it all out there, Chad. I mean, great job, Noel. Great teamwork.
Well, we appreciate that.
Look forward to working with you.
Yeah.
Corey's still on the line. Corey, is there anything? Corey Taylor?
Yeah, I'm here. So, and Chad and I have a chance to talk a little bit, about the needs of the county. And really, I think it came down to just east side drainage and west side congestion. But, really just the issues along, the freeway of 146, trying to get all of that freeway traffic that dumps off in the Baytown Chambers County line up to I-10 in the most safe, efficient way as possible is key. And I think that 565 job is a good start. They're just trying to expand that to, just that we keep traffic moving and that we try to find a way to partner together to find those solutions.
Yeah, as you guys can tell by the way Corey just jumped right to, as if we're going to talk about signal timing on this conversation or anything, he jumped right into it. I was on day 2 and he was already on my calendar and was wanting to hammer me about some needs. So go back a little ways with Corey, know him from some other things, and I won't hold that against y'all in any way. I'll still work with him. He's a fine fella, And I'm looking forward to that. But just know that we do have each other's numbers, and we are easily able to talk plainly and frankly, just from having known each other anyway. So you got a good hand there, and I'll be listening. And feel free, if you want to, just holler at me directly. But if you want to holler at Corey for your needs as well, that works. He's got my number too. But no, I'm understanding. We talked about some drainage issues. We talked about some congestion issues. We talked about some ongoing projects and some needs, as Noel did, and we're going to get after it. But yes, looking forward to it. But anything
Well, I
else?
think Corey summed it up pretty good with east side drainage and west side congestion.
Congestion,
I
yes.
want you to know, Chad, that we're planning on doing our part. Some east-west corridors on the west side with some drainage on the east side. And we're looking forward to partnering with TxDOT on all those projects.
Yep. So I just ask if you would give us a chance, if you give us a chance to address and to work on it and to take care of that business, throw it our way, give us a shot, and we will be straight back with you, and we will get after it and see how we can team up. So really like that.
That's good. Anybody else? Noah, thank you for today. Chad, thank you for joining us. Welcome to Southeast Texas. I look forward to working with you in the future.
Welcome, Chad. Thank you, Noel.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right. Take care. Okay, what about BJ? Just call his office, okay. All right, I think we've gotten everything except economic development tourism. Let's take a few minutes. Let's take about 10 minutes and we'll get BJ on the line and we'll go to that.
Thank you, Judge.
You're welcome. All right, court come to order after recess. It's now 10:46 a.m. We're going to economic development tourism 5.1. Discuss and consider a letter of non-opposition to the CCZ JV GPX application foreign trade zone subzone site designation with the ASF service area foreign trade zone number 171. We got BJ Simon, Economic Development Foundation on the line. BJ, I'm on 5.1.
Yes, good morning, Judge, Commissioners.
Morning.
Morning.
Morning. So item 5.1 is related to the request to consider a letter of non-objection for foreign trade zone designation by CCZ JV GPS for subzone designation for project in Cedar Port Industrial Park. As has been the practice by the court has requested, and we're providing a general overview of the project. This joint venture consists of Toyota International Corporation, CB&I LLC, and Zachary Industrial. The joint venture is the EPC, or the construction contractor, for a significant LNG export project in Texas. The project is, as I mentioned, two of the largest oil and gas companies. And so the intent is to establish a foreign trade zone in the Cedar Port Industrial Park so as to provide the allowances that are afforded through FTZ designation. The project timing for the project ideally is to start receiving elements at the laydown yard in Cedar Port at the latter part of January. The intent is to use this laydown yard for the duration of the project, which is expected to be completed in early 2025. It's currently estimated that material that's going to be stored at the laydown facility will not exceed the goods in transit exemption, or they will be there beyond the 175-day requirement. And they estimate that the dwell time for the value is going to be between 120 and 150 days. They intend, in order to get the designation, the foreign trade zone designation in place, is to provide their FTZ application to the designee no later than December 15th. And they're presenting
the request to Chambers County today and other taxing entities this week, namely the Goose Creek School District and the Lee College as well. So some additional background. There will be some reciprocity between two foreign trade zone sites, one here in Chambers County, one in Sabine Pass. The project will require a significant workforce. They anticipate the project will create between 275 to 325 full-time jobs over the duration of the project. Estimated payroll is approximately 55 million, and they've identified substantial availability of workforce in and around the Chambers County area. So what you have before you is a typical request for a letter for non-objection. They've identified the addresses for the foreign trade zone area. That's 4200 Bardstock Road, Baytown, Texas, and 4224 Bardstock Road, Baytown, Texas. Both are in Cedarport Industrial Park. Be glad to answer any additional questions the court may have. What's presented for consideration is the approval of the execution of opposition.
BJ, I didn't see any size. Did they mention the size of this area?
Yes, there are two sites. One is a smaller site, and one's about 112 acres. Yeah, it's a considerable site adjacent to the public Bardstock on Sears Bayou.
Hey, Gary, this is the same site that we approved the tax exemption on, but it was a joint venture between HB Zachary and TGS in Cedarport. Okay. And BJ, would you remind the court, or would you let the court know how much personal property is expected to be there that will not be exempt, that we will be getting taxes on?
Yes, thank you, Commissioner. As it stands right now, it's estimated that the value that will be taxable will be at least $9 million.
Good. Judge, I'll move for approval of the letter of no objection.
I'll second.
Motion by Commissioner Combs, second by Commissioner Nelson. Any other questions? Those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-2. Discuss and consider letter of understanding regarding the same project, tax abatement methodology. BJ.
Thank you, Judge. In conjunction with the foreign trade zone designation, what has been presented for review and approval by Chief McCullough at the Appraisal District and Greg Davis at Capital Appraisal Group, working in conjunction with Purdue and Brandon, is language associated with the tax assessment methodology for this particular project. You know, given the nature of the project where elements are going to be coming in, there'll be some fitting, and then the projects or the value will leave the district. There's simply a letter of intent or letter of understanding that's going to accompany and be provided by the court in the appraisal district, so that the parties can, have some common agreement as to how this would be assessed. The review of the draft started a couple of months ago. There's been some back and forth, and most Chief McCullough indicated that Joe Longoria over at Purdue is refining the most recent version of the letter, which ultimately will be presented to Judge Sylvia for execution. So just wanted to make the court aware that this letter of understanding has been presented as being worked and processed in conjunction with the FTZ designation and the assessment as this over the life cycle of the project. This is very similar to what the court approved for the Red Bull agreement. If you recall, there were some concerns as to how Red Bull inventory was being assessed in their previous location, and they wanted some clarification as to what the assessment methodology was going to be, and it was provided by the appraisal team.
So you need action on this one, BJ?
Other than what's required to allow for your review and execution of the draft once it's finalized.
So move.
Second, Judge.
Motion by Commissioner Combs, second by Commissioner Tice. Questions? Those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. 5.3, discuss and consider Black Creek Group, BCIF Cedarport Logistics Center LLC tax abatement agreement deferral request. BJ.
Thank you, Judge. Commissioners, you may recall Black Creek Group presented the application for tax abatement in the first quarter of 2020. The agreement was approved and executed by the judge in July of 2020. Black Creek, for various reasons, COVID impacted, have not been able to move forward with the project. They are asking some allowance that the tax abatement be deferred, or the effective date of tax abatement be deferred to January 1 of 2022, given that there's no value that's going to be there as of January 1 of 2021. The default parameters in the agreement, provide for in the event that if construction does not commence within 1 year, that the applicant or the taxpayer is in default. And so that would occur in July. What they're asking right now is consideration by the court to amend the agreement so as to provide for the effective date of abatement to start January 1 of 2022.
But they as a part of this, they're still saying they will start construction by July, correct?
That is correct, Commissioner, and if they don't, they're in default. So the stipulation or the amendment that would be presented for the court at some point, prior to the July would stipulate that.
It seems like a reasonable request, Your Honor. From way out, Billy.
Was that a motion, Mark?
Oh, no, I was,
Okay.
I have a little delay, Your Honor, with my computer right now. I will motion that we grant them the tax abatement agreement deferral to July 1 start date. Did you hear
I
that,
don't
Judge?
think that was the request.
The motion should be
The request is to move it forward, am I correct?
to agree to the deferral until
Yes.
January 1, 2022. Correct, BJ?
That's correct, Judge.
That's your motion, Mark?
Correct, sir. So yeah, add 6 months on basically from July, correct, Your Honor, to January?
It's January 1, 2022. Yes, 6 months.
Okay.
All right,
Okay.
I got a motion. I need a second.
I'll second.
Motion by Commissioner Tice, second by Commissioner Combs. Any other questions? Those in favor?
All right.
Opposed? Motion carries. 5.4, discuss, consider Project Hydrate incentives recommendation.
Thank you, Judge. This is another project that is considering locating in Chambers County. This is a significant national manufacturing entity that is seeking to site another project in the state of Texas. The project profile that you have before you notes the particulars. It's a significant water and beverage bottling operation. Cedarport, again, is a site of under consideration. There are a number of competing sites, one in Louisiana, one in Fort Bend County, one in Wilder County, and one in Montgomery County. Project Hydrate would be a build-to-suit project, 500,000 to 700,000 square feet. Phase 1 would employ 50 employees. Phase 2 could employ 15 to 25 employees. The average wage annually unburdened is $44,000. Capital investment for both phases ranges between $100 million to $110 million. The anticipated startup or target startup would be the first quarter of 2022. As we've done in the past, we've provided economic impact analyses related to that particular sector or the type of NAICS or SOC that's related to the project. You'll note that the employment of 50 people in Chambers County would have the indirect, induced, and direct impacts that are noted in the two tables there. The recommendation, based upon the industry sector, capital investment, and potential for continued investment, they've indicated and have proven through previous projects in Texas that they're rapidly respond to market forces, that the potential for continued investment is highly likely or probable. And then the resultant economic impact recommendation for court considerations presented to you in the table there at a 10-year tax abatement at 60% over term. So it's a competitive project. There's no commitment in the event that it's very similar to how the court treated the Project Falcon project, which we'll be speaking about here shortly. But be glad to answer any additional questions you may have.
So this is a way to diversify our economy, correct?
Yes, sir. It's a manufacturing project, and again, this we've been most recently to the Rivago project, Project Redfish, and then now Project Hydrate are presenting or considering Chambers County for the manufacturing related operations.
BJ, would you tell the court and tell us what Bell County did for them and what Fort Bend County is offering them, that you're aware of?
Oh, yes, Commissioner, I'm sorry. Yeah, I didn't hear you very well. In our research, trying to provide some basis of comparison for this type of project and for this particular entity, just full disclosure, they considered Chambers County Cedar Crossing back in 2012, and ultimately the project was sited in Missouri City. But back in 2012, Fort Bend County provided 60% abatement over 10 years. Most recently, a project over in Bell County, the same entity received 100% 10-year tax abatement from the Commissioner's Court of Bell County in conjunction with municipal incentives over time, given that the project was in the city limits. So the range of potential for competitive tax abatements or tax incentives for a project like this, is between 60% and 100% tax abatement at the county level.
So are there other entities in the county that are planning on doing something on this, PJ? The school, the city?
Yes, this project will qualify for industrial district agreement with the city of Baytown. And they're under consideration as well. We're working with them to present a proposal.
What about a 313 from the school? Do they qualify?
Just minimally. And the way this would work, the project of the proposed site, I think, could be in the Barboursville ISD section of Cedarport. But I think it's what they're targeting right now, or what they're proposing, is Goose Creek School District. And that average, the Chapter 313 threshold for Goose Creek is in the as compared to Barboursville, which is 80 million. So that could be advantageous if, in fact, they chose to do that. The big stretch would be the wage requirement, because Chapter 313 is predicated on the average wage, countywide average wage, which is right at $1,300 right now per week.
So the other one is CCID1. Are they doing incentives for them also?
Yeah, the way they have tried to address this, Judge, is to try to, the CCID1 gets involved in providing infrastructure and like for projects, but they have not provided any sort of direct abatement taxes, as far as I know.
Yeah, they did infrastructure, road building, and those kind of things for them. So, and
as a matter of note, Judge and Commissioner, again, just as the case of Project Redfish, inventory, when we take inventory into consideration for a project like this, which is looking at balancing over time, looking at some of the estimates of year-end inventory for projects in Texas based upon the square footage of this project, it's estimated that the average annual inventory revenue for this project would be $135,000. So over a 10-year term, in addition to the taxes that they would pay, essentially results in a net or estimated 47% tax abatement as compared to a 60% tax.
okay, it's a pleasure.
I'll move for approval.
Sorry?
I was talking to the court. Motion by Commissioner Combs. Have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Commissioner Nelson. Any other questions? Those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. 5.5, discuss and consider Project Falcon update. BJ.
Thank you, Judge. Commissioners, you may recall back in October of this year, Project Falcon was presented as a competitive project under consideration, a significant logistics distribution retail center, import center. The site of interest again is Cedar Port. Sites at that time were Baltimore, Maryland, and Savannah, Georgia. Project Falcon is also known as Florida Core. They have selected the Cedar Port site, and they've moved to close on that property. And so wanted to update the court that the intent is to move forward with the recommendation or the following incentive offer that was extended in October by the court. So just a project update, and we'll provide additional information on the next court, December 22nd.
Any questions? No action then, BJ?
No, just as a matter of note, just wanted to remind the court that another significant logistics distribution project, the siting in the county, 1.5 million square feet, 182 jobs by year 2027, and capital investments about $55 million.
Right. All right, 5.6, discuss and consider resolution assigning the amended Clay Partners Cedar Port Phase 3, number 1, and Clay Partners Cedar Port Phase 3, number 2, tax abatement to Exeter 5335 Cedar Port. BJ.
Thank you, Judge. Just as the resolution is noted, the recitals in the resolution give the timelines to the process related to this resolution. In March of 2019, the county entered into a tax abatement agreement with Clay Partners Cedar Port Phase 3, number 1, and Clay Partners Cedar Port Phase 3, number 2, for projects that they intended to build in the Clay Partners 2019 reinvestment zone. On the 13th of this year, October 13th of this year, the county approved an assignment and amendment of the agreement to reflect the amendment to Cedar Port, Clay Partners Cedar Port Phase 3, number 1. On November 24th, the county approved the agreement amendment, and a copy is also attached. And Clay has sold the property to Clay Partners Cedar Port Phase 3, number 1, to Exeter 5335 Cedar Port LP, and the assignment is embodied in this resolution. So this is a formal resolution that provides for the assignment as a matter of record for the agreement. In conjunction with that, there is a consent and estoppel that would ratify, if you will, affirm the court's intent and consent related to the assignment, which is presented for approval. So this is simply, there are two actions. I guess one action is to approve the resolution assigning the amended Clay Partners Cedar Port Phase 3, number 1 LP tax abatement agreement to Exeter 5335 Cedar Port LP.
I need a motion to approve the resolution assigning the amended Clay Partners Cedar Port Phase 3, number 1, and Clay Partners.
So moved, Judge.
Thank you. Motion by Commissioner Tice. Have a second? Second by Commissioner Gore. Any questions?
Yeah, I want to make sure I understand. BJ, you said this is a two-part. We've already split the.
I'm sorry, Commissioner, you're breaking up. I can't hear you.
I just want to make sure I understand. This was a two-part thing. I think previously we'd already split the abatement between Phase 1 and Phase 2, and now we're assigning Phase 1 to Exeter.
That is correct, Commissioner.
Okay, so what are we doing with Phase 2?
The amendment, if you recall, essentially negates the Clay Partners Cedar Port Phase 3, number 2.
All right, BJ, will you state the motion to make sure we got it how it needs to be stated? BJ?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Motion to approve the resolution assigning the amended Clay Partners Cedar Port Phase 3, number 1 LP, and Clay Partners Cedar Port Phase 3, number 2 LP tax abatement agreement to Exeter 5335 Cedar Port LP.
Okay, just like it reads on the agenda. Perfect.
Yes, sir.
That's what the motion was and the second one. So I just wanted to make sure. All right. No other questions? Those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, BJ.
Judge, Commissioner,
All right. Take care.
take care.
Okay, we're going to executive session.
session. 20.1, discuss and consider request for adjustment of balance due on hotel taxes owed by Hampton Inn and La Quinta Inn. And 20.2, discuss and consider personnel issues. At this time, at 11:09 a.m., we will recess to session.
Thank you, Judge.
All right, court come back to order at 12:02 p.m. out of executive session, go back into regular session. I think we've covered everything except the consent agenda. So we'll go to the consent agenda at this time. Precinct 1, Jimmy, you got questions on, you'd like to talk about anything on the consent?
Can you hear? Okay. Judge, I number 18.
All right, let's start with 18. Go ahead.
I spoke with Ron and never to get any clarification back on that. I mean, I don't know if he's available or we can table it or what.
We can, Aaron, are you on the phone? What do you say?
What was that, Aaron?
Go ahead, Jimmy. We'll see if we can get Ron.
Okay, I mean, just reading through it, I mean, it didn't, I mean, I understand helping out in the ER and I'm fine with that. And when we take patients in there, but if they're wanting to utilize our personnel to go down there to assist.
Well, why don't you wait till we get Ron?
Okay. Okay.
Explain it again. What else you got, Jim?
The rest of them I already got clarification on. Thank you.
Okay. All right, precinct 3, Gary. Yeah, and this is Jimmy. I called him yesterday about the van, the new handicap van.
What number is this?
Number 17.
Okay.
And the issue was that, of course, the hospital district is going to buy the van and we're going to operate it, but it's going to be different than what normally, like what we do over here. We do the seniors and handicap. The hospital district has to do with indigent. So my question is, are we going to need to keep that, what we do for the indigent separate and somehow or another credit the hospital district or say, well, you know, these funds, are we going to need to budget additional funds because we're going to be doing additional, additional people is what I'm getting at.
We keep it separate now. And we show them what we do. I mean, they're
But are we
purchasing.
going to need, I mean, is it going to increase the fact that we're going to run another crew? How much is that going to increase our costs? It's the budget issue that we need to deal with. What's it going to run us more a month, you think?
I don't know off the top of my head. I mean, I think all the personnel we have been doing this year just, I mean, some of them needed wheelchair access. So the hospital district agreed to purchase a van to.
Oh, your other one doesn't have wheelchair. Your other one doesn't have wheelchair access?
It does, but we have a lot of people we're helping right now. And sometimes it's doubling up on us.
But they're not ready for you just yet, okay?
So, but that doesn't, do you anticipate having enough funds available that we don't need to, you know, increase the budget by whatever that number needs to be is what I'm trying to get at. When you operate another vehicle, that's going to increase your budget to a certain degree.
Yes,
Do you have any numbers that you're thinking about that's going to be? I mean, I know it's hard to anticipate.
Yeah, we've been running 2 personnel, 2 part-time drivers, as well as 2 vehicles the whole time, pretty much. We have one checked out from the courthouse from the pool right now to assist.
So maybe it's not going to increase your costs very much then.
It's not just because we're going to turn in the pool vehicle and with this van.
Okay. And then you'll notify them of the of what percentage of their van that they're purchasing takes care of the indigent.
We are. Yes, sir.
Okay. That's just on clarification on it. Okay. What else? That's the only thing I had. I mean, that was everything else. I didn't mark off any other thing.
Okay. Mark, Commissioner.
I'm good, Judge.
Commissioner Combs.
Well, Commissioner Nelson actually asked my questions over to Commissioner Gore, and
Yeah.
appreciate that. And Gore, I want to just tell you, good job on getting a new van. That's good. And
Absolutely.
thing I want to point out,
Give our
just,
thanks to the district.
Oh, yeah, yes, sir.
I'm sorry.
yeah, the only other thing I want to point out, and I should have started to say something last week, you know, as we're buying these new security things and looking, we got some local security companies. I don't know if they're getting a chance to look at it, like ESI in particular. You know, make sure from purchasing that we let some of our local contractors and companies look at doing some of these projects if they're
Very
qualified.
completely.
We need to make sure they're on our vendor list, then.
Yeah, I'm sure they are. George he always listens to court, so I'm sure he's listening. IT's sitting here looking at me, so yeah, we'll make sure they get a shot at whatever we're doing.
I mean,
I agree, Billy.
does anybody else have a comment on that number 18? I mean, am I?
Well, Ron's on. Let me get Ron on.
Okay.
Ron? Okay, we're approve interlocal agreement between Chambers County EMS, Chambers Health for the use of paramedics when needed at the ER. Commissioner Gore had a question. Go ahead, Commissioner.
Well, I asked Ron yesterday. I mean, did you get any clarification on that? I mean, are they
basically, so the way it's always worked, it's a little bit different now with COVID-19 because they have a little bit of additional staff for FEMA nurses and stuff. But the way it's always worked, and we did this in Winnie as well when I was in Winnie, when they get a critical patient in the emergency room, because there's less staff in the hospital than some of the larger hospitals and stuff like that. Like, for example, on their normal staffing, they have a doctor, a respiratory therapist, sometimes, during the day, and maybe 2 nurses to take care of a critical patient. We do that in EMS, but we do that with first responders. We do that with supervisors that show up, additional ambulances will show up to help us run those critical calls. So in the past, what they've done is they've just called 911. Well, doing that with a private EMS service like Anahuac is not really that big of an issue because it's less liability. Us as the county, the interlocal agreement helps us, basically makes them responsible for the liability if our paramedics actually show up to provide those services, and takes the liability off of us as the EMS in the county. So we wanted to get that in place just so that we were covered if they did call us for assistance. It doesn't happen very often. It only happens, I think it's happened 4 times in the last 6 months that we went over there and provided them assistance. But sometimes it does happen that they, have significant patients in the ER and they have a couple of them that get sick. They'll call us for help. I'm also working with, I've got a meeting with William, the new CEO, and with Nellie tomorrow to work on some other things that we're working on as well to include in a different interlocal agreement or to amend this interlocal agreement. This was primarily just to get it approved. So it was to help us basically share the liability and take the liability off of the paramedics from Chambers County EMS and put it back on the hospital.
Okay. I understand all that, and I'm all for that, taking care of our citizens. I just want to make sure if they're being compensated, if they're charging for that paramedic there through their insurance or whoever, I mean, if they're benefiting from it because they're a for-profit, I want to make sure if we're getting paid for that time for that paramedic being there, for what I was trying to get clarification on. And
that's one of the discussions we're going to have tomorrow with myself and William, like the CEO, and some of the other people from Chambers Health and the hospital districts, is on the compensation front, because we're working to put together a plan to assist them with dispersing vaccines for COVID-19, and there's some other things going on in the background too. So that's going to be part of the conversation tomorrow as far as the compensation was concerned. This was to give us something on the books to help cover the liability in case that does happen, until we can get an actual firm interlocal agreement done with, compensation and things of that nature that are taken into consideration.
Okay, I just want to make sure that it wouldn't affect our response time if it's not taking one of our paramedics that may have to respond to an incident. Those are the 2 clarifications I need.
No, sir. If they go over there to help, and we have an emergency call that comes in, and then my crews will leave. The only thing it will really affect is the supervisor might be there for a little bit longer than the ambulance, but we're not taking in. It's not going to be, the truck is not out of the rotation when they go over there to help. And the hospital understands that if
a 911 call comes in just like any other time, we're going on the 911 call and they're going to have to manage themselves.
Okay.
Yeah, that was a concern I had that I didn't know whether the hospital potentially had someone on call and they would call us first before they had someone on call to handle the same project.
It's a little bit different than it was before. Before they had when Ben Bialy and with Dr. Redmond, some of the other doctors that were there, they had their own providers that were on call because they've had the changeover in staff with several doctors that have retired. They're in the process of looking for providers to have permanent providers for the emergency room for on-call status and stuff like that, but they don't have the amount of them that they used to have in the past. And that's one of the reasons that they were asking us if there was a way for us to help. And the interlocal agreement, we ran it through their legal department and our legal department just to make sure that we were all covered on liability, because that was the biggest concern is who's going to be responsible for the liability if my paramedics are there assisting you, because for us, we work under the discretion of Dr. Redmond and Dr. Kevispar, our medical directors, and under their license. And we're not going to put their license in jeopardy because we went to help you at your hospital who's licensed under a different provider.
Okay. So if we approve this today, I mean, we still have the option to get clarification on the other two, right?
That is correct. So I have a meeting actually tomorrow morning at 8:30 in the morning with William and Nellie and their attorney and a couple other people to discuss plans and compensation and things of that nature for Chambers County going forward. So that is on the agenda for the morning.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
All right. Anything else from Ron?
No, sir.
Anything else?
No, sir.
All right. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Bye.
Hey, Judge, I forgot there was one other thing I wanted to mention on the consent agenda.
Go ahead.
On the records, for the court, there was a letter in there about the
What number, Gary?
it was the first one for the records of the consent agenda.
The minutes?
19-1. It's not the minutes. It's
Basically,
19. It's the very first part
Monthly
of the consent agenda. Page. Heck, I can't see my page number.
Monthly reports.
It's under the consent agenda, the very first of it. It's the order that you have for a purchasing agent that's written.
Yes.
Received in the record.
Friday.
Received it in the record.
Yes.
I was surprised when I read it there that the judges didn't have the authorization to renew term for just 1 year. Year to figure that out.
Well, what happened was we had our meeting last Friday, and it was actually, we appointed the person agent for 1 year, and Judge Kane came across a attorney general opinion that said
So they weren't allowed to do that.
so we weren't allowed to appoint the 1 year. So
You just found out about it here recently.
yes, sir.
Okay. Well, I mean because by reading this, it almost said like you extended that 1 year to 2, but he's just still going to serve the 2 year. Right as of right now, the 1 year didn't matter. It's still serving part of that 2 year term.
Yes, he was he wasn't reappointed. He's serving the last year of a 2 year term.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, just clarification. I was surprised to see that didn't have the legal authority to appoint him to just a 1 year term.
That's correct.
Comment. So
Yeah.
that's
yeah. Okay. If there's nothing else, I will entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So moved, Judge.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Tice, second by Commissioner Combs. And no other questions. Those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Make sure you heard that we pulled 10.1. I said it early on, but
Judge, I don't think there was any, but I don't recall you going to citizens' comments.
oh, you're right, I didn't.
Good catch, Billy.
Some comments came in. Is that correct, Austin? Aaron?
I can see it.
I don't think I asked Lauren yesterday, but
we're gonna,
I don't see any in the inbox.
all right, so Austin said no, there are no citizen comments. Thank you for that reminder. All right, with that, court's adjourned. Thank you all. Have a good